Live by Live has all of your favorite music, and you can listen for free. Whether you hit play on one of our hundreds of curated music stations or create your own custom artist radio station, you'll find the music you love on Live by Live. Visit livexlive.com or search LiveX Live in the App Store or Google Play and listen for free now.
Darkcast Network. The light shines brightest on our indie podcasts.
Hi, this is Kelly.
And this is Jenna.
You're listening to ODFM.
This episode is One Dye Job for Murder.
Dye job.
It's really perfect for me because my hair is never the same color for more than like 3 months at a time. I get bored.
Oh, I get that. I get it.
I get bored. So
mine's a strange hue at the moment, but we'll wait. We'll see what happens.
All right. Well, you might want to wait before you dye your hair to see what happens in this episode.
Brianna better not be planning to murder me. My hairstylist.
Right?
You hear that, Brianna?
Right.
Or if you do, at least record it. So yeah. So right. Jen can
give me all the details so I can do a really nice episode on it.
Memorial. Yes.
I have a list of potential episodes I want to research, but it was that whole week between Christmas and New Year's lull where I couldn't motivate myself to do anything. And then a friend of mine who listens to the podcast mentioned, he's like, well, do you know my favorite all-time true crime story? And I'm like, I don't know. What is it? And he's like, he starts telling me about it. And he's like, I got it from this documentary called The Imposter. And I was like, oh, so I Google it right away and I have access to watch it. And he's like, I'm not going to tell you anymore. You should just watch it. And yeah, I was like 10 minutes into the episode and I was like, oh, this is my next story.
Ooh,
and it's
excited.
Not even out of Florida, but it is, buckle up. This story is crazy. This is crazy.
That's perfect because I just attached a seatbelt to my podcast chair.
Good. You're going to need it. Yeah. You're going to need it. All right. This story, I keep thinking, I'm like, this didn't happen that long ago. This was 1994. And there are people listening to this who were born after 94 that are going to be like, this is a really old story.
That's insane. Okay. That was
right. But to me, it's like
college, right?
Right.
First
so
year
like
of
I was a, air quotes, grown up.
Right.
No, not grown up. Adult. Air quotes, adult. Yeah.
Right. We could vote.
Right. Okay. So June 13th, 1994, 13-year-old Nicolas Barclay was playing basketball with friends near his home in San Antonio, Texas.
Oh, hi, Blue.
And my dog is like, oh, I want to hear.
Basketball?
You watched the documentary with me. You know all this.
She's like, ball? Somebody
Don't give away the ending. So he lives near San Antonio, Texas. The sun is starting to go down. His friends are starting to go home. So he calls home to ask for a ride. Okay. And his older brother, Jason, told him to walk home since he wasn't that far away.
Oh, yep. Sounds like an older brother. Mm-hmm.
Right?
Like, dude, just walk.
Right. So Nicholas is like, all right, can I talk to mom? Give the phone to mom. And he's like, no, she works nights. She's sleeping. Just, you're going to have to walk, man.
I feel like he's going to regret this. I feel like he's going to regret this.
Yeah, right?
Oh, God. Okay.
Nicholas Patrick Barclay was born on December 31st, 1980. He was raised by his single mother, Beverly Dollarhide, which instantly rang a bell with me, but I didn't know what it was. But it's because I read all the Hannibal books. And Red Dragon, the guy, his name was Francis Dollarhide.
Oh, you're right. Mm-hmm. Holy cow.
Because I was like, what do I know that name from? So anyway, okay. So I just thought that was really weird. It's spelled different. Crazy. I think in the book, Hyde was Hyde, and she spells it Hide. But still, it kind of was like,
that's cool.
Ooh. Nicholas had two much older siblings, his sister Carrie and his brother Jason. They were both like out of the house or old enough to be out of the house, I should say. Nicholas looked like a sweet young kid. He had blue eyes and pale blonde hair and like the fashionable like bowl cut. Oh, you know, it was like straight and
yes.
My friend had it. What did he call it? The butt cut. Where it's like parted. I think his might have been on the side a little bit. He looked just like a sweet
I'm trying to remember. There was some singing group that had like, not like NSYNC or something like that, but
had the hair, right? It was a very early 90s look.
Yeah.
Looking at his pictures, he reminded me of like the kids from the show. Remember Home Improvement with the three boys?
Oh, yes.
I felt like he could totally have just like
slid right into one of those roles. Yeah.
Right. Except Nicolas Barclay was no angel.
Uh-oh.
At 13, he already had a juvenile criminal record with charges of breaking and entering, stealing, and truancy. Like, he did not show up to school.
Oops.
His mother said, at 13, right? I'm like, oh my God. His mother said he was hard to discipline and even violent towards her at times.
Uh-oh.
Like, this was
not
one of those uncontrollable kids. So she had actually asked her older son, Jason, to move back in with them, hoping that he would help
a father figure
type. Nicholas in line, right? And obviously it didn't work because he was like, walk, dude.
Yeah.
Great. You're helping a lot, man.
Thanks for helping out.
So things had gotten so bad that Nicholas actually had a court date scheduled for the next day, and he was facing time at a group home for troubled juveniles.
Ooh.
Like,
can you imagine sending your kid away to a group home?
No, right? I know. Yeah. So that's, I mean, he really, it wasn't just serious. Like grounding and shit. Like, the legal system was getting involved.
Uh-oh.
Nicholas was very street smart for his age. I don't know how street smart you can be at 13, but probably a lot more than me.
Yeah, probably more than me for sure.
His family would joke that he was 13 going on 30. He already had 3 tattoos.
What? Who? Like someone's like doing the pen tattoo?
Yes, exactly. Like from Friends.
Yes. No, I knew some people that did that. Like when I
had a friend that did that, and I was like, oh.
Yeah.
Huh. Yeah, it
looks great.
Looks good. Looks almost straight.
And they're all spaced out dots. Oh,
no. So I got different information on this. He either had the letter T or a cross on his left hand between his thumb and forefinger. It could have gone either way. So could have been a lowercase t, could have been a cross, not sure.
It could have been an upside down cross. Right. Any way you look at it.
He had the letter J on his left shoulder, which I don't even know what that would go for, and the letters L and N on the outside of his left ankle. None of these are his initials. Well, no, N is, but still, I'm like, weird. So it was all just initials. So not difficult to do as like a home, what do they call it? Like a stick and poke tattoo or whatever.
Yeah, I don't know. I just think
something
of them
like
as the pen tattoos. Yeah.
Let's not do that.
You're not doing great lettering. You're doing like Comic Sans.
Right?
Not even Helvetica.
Not even Helvetica.
You just can't get it that straight.
Can you do something with serifs? No, I cannot.
No. God, no. That is way too straight.
Right?
Oh, no.
The day Nicholas disappeared, because he never, I guess I forgot that part. He didn't come home. Sorry.
Oh, shit.
Sorry. His brother said, walk.
Yeah.
That was it.
Oh,
that was it. The day Nicholas disappeared. That's kind of a very important part of the story that I left out. Wow.
Yeah.
Way to go.
That's okay. You know, it left us guessing a little. I guess he's gone.
I was going for the suspense. The day Nicholas disappeared, his mother had given him $5 to play basketball in like a neighboring area with friends.
Well, that's not going to get him very far.
No, I mean, probably she was like, here's $5. Go play with friends. She said, be home by dinner. And then she went to bed because she worked the night shift and slept during the day, right?
Yikes.
So Nicholas's brother, Jason, said that he told police that Nicholas called later in the day asking for a ride home. But since the basketball courts were just a little over a mile away, Jason said, dude, just walk. But that was the last time anyone heard from him.
Good job, Jason.
I know, right?
That could have been one of the initials. You said he had a J.
Oh, he did have a J. Well, I bet you he wanted to erase that.
Yeah.
Right there.
Like, I'm going to get this removed instead of going home.
I don't want your initial on me anymore. Won't even give me a ride. So initially, though, no one panicked because Nicholas had run away from home several times before, right?
Sounds like the type. So, yeah. Dang
right?
It.
So, and he usually showed up after a day or two. So they didn't really, like, when he didn't show up, they were like, okay. Plus, everyone kind of assumed maybe he was staying away to kind of skip court the next day.
to
avoid going to the juvenile home. So
yeah.
they didn't worry about it at first. His disappearance didn't even make the news.
Oh.
Like, there was no Amber Alert, nothing. Right?
Wow.
It was just,
yeah,
he didn't come home and they just kind of...
He's one of those runaway kids.
Exactly. So then after a few days, police opened a missing persons investigation. But since a 13-year-old doesn't have a car, doesn't have credit cards to trace, they really weren't sure where to start looking for him.
Yeah.
You know, they didn't have, like, anywhere to go. So days started to turn into weeks. Still, police assumed Nicholas would show up eventually. He was small for his age. He was only 4'8" and he was 80 pounds. He was last seen wearing purple pants, carrying a pink backpack.
Yes. Oh,
very early 80s. I'm picturing nylon, like windbreaker material.
Yeah. Like, what are they called? Those, the Zuba pants or whatever?
Yes, right?
Like...
right?
Oh, no.
I'm sure his pants made noise when he walked. You know,
oh,
like
totally.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
That's what I'm picturing. So I'm also figuring if he's got purple pants and a pink backpack, like, if you saw him, you'd know.
Right. We can identify this kid. Okay.
Right. His family, however, was convinced he met with foul play. His mother was certain that Nicholas would have accepted a ride home from a stranger because Nicholas prided himself on being street smart.
Right. So he's like,
but he was also only 4'8" and 80 pounds.
Yeah. He's just a kid. And
exactly. Right.
Honestly, if someone came by with puppies or kitties and was like, hey, come see my kitties, but like, first one out there.
Exactly, right?
Yeah.
So, right. Mm-hmm. But still nothing for several weeks. Then 3 months after he disappeared, Jason called police to say that Nicholas was attempting to break into their garage, which was kind of a weird thing to not like, hey, my brother's home.
Yeah.
He's breaking into the garage.
That's really weird.
Right? Police came over and they found no sign of Nicholas or any evidence of anyone trying to attempt to break into the garage. So that was weird. And Jason was like, oh, well, he took off before you got here. It was just like...
Jason. Something
random.
Sus.
And the police noted that. They were like, that was really weird.
Yeah.
Why would he call us to say he was breaking in? Why would he lie about something like that?
Yeah,
if he really was weird. You know, if he wasn't there. Yeah, it was really weird. So, but then after that, that's it. There were no sightings, no clues, no leads, nothing.
No.
And his case went cold.
No.
Until 3 years later.
3 years. Oh,
3
God.
years.
I can't imagine being the mom and just like,
right?
You don't know. Ugh.
3 years later, in October of 1997, Nicholas's sister, Carrie Gibson, she's married now, got a phone call saying authorities in the small town of Linares, Spain, had located Nicholas.
What?
Uh-huh, right? Weird.
Whoa, dude, at least take me with you if you're going someplace cool.
Right?
Oh my God, you just leave us all behind and go to Spain?
Yeah, totally.
Okay.
Nicholas had apparently escaped from a European military child sex trafficking ring.
Military? What?
Yeah, right? Yeah.
Ah.
And had been found near a train station and taken to a youth center.
Whoa.
Nicholas told the authorities there that he had been kidnapped on his way home on the evening of June 13th, 1994, that he had been taken to the airport and put on a plane to Europe. Then his kidnappers sold him into a child sex trafficking ring. He detailed the torture he had endured for the past 3 years. And when he finally had an opportunity to escape, he ran.
That is so crazy because that's before, like, I mean, now you hear about it all the time.
Now you hear about, yeah, like, and that child sex trafficking ring was not a phrase that was familiar to me at all.
No.
So really, really weird.
Prostitution. I guess I remember people like hearing about people getting taken to like Guatemala and stuff.
But still,
it wasn't known as that.
Carrie Gibson, Nicholas's sister, immediately gets on a flight to Spain. Right?
Sweet. I don't need an excuse. Just, yeah. Send me.
Hell, her friends were like, we'll come with you. Mm-hmm. Sure. Right?
Yeah, you'll need backup.
Right.
Yeah.
You're going to need some emotional support. So Carrie hops a flight to Spain, and she's taken to the youth center where Nicholas was staying. Wow. When she finally saw her brother for the first time in 3 years, she just swept him up in a bear hug. She was just like so overjoyed.
Oh, that gives me chills.
Right? Nicholas, however, was really nervous and awkward and wouldn't speak much. He was wearing layers of clothing, like a hat low over his eyes, and like he had a scarf on and all kinds of, like, it's warm in Spain, but he was like...
Okay, like he's kind of trying to hide his identity.
He's covered up, right? But everybody was like, he's been through some serious trauma. You know, we don't know what's going on with him. You know, so they just were like, they wrote it off. But there were some other strange things. His pale blue eyes were now brown.
Was he using Latisse? Isn't that?
Isn't that for eyelashes?
Yeah. But I remember when it first came out, do you remember the commercial saying, it might change your eye color to brown? And I was like, what? Oh, that's bizarre.
I missed that.
Yeah. That's why I was like always afraid to ever try that stuff. I was
it could change your eye color? That's insane. Eye color. Well, you just gave a little more validation to his story here. So
yeah.
So his pale blue eyes are now brown. It was obvious that his hair had been bleached, which he had pale blonde hair before.
Yeah, so he wouldn't have needed to, huh?
Right. Although people's hair color change. My husband's hair was like white blonde as a baby, and then he's clearly has darker brown hair now. Yeah. I mean, it changes, right?
Yep.
Okay.
Both with my kids, too. They both had blonde, and now they have brown. So
weird. So it was like, okay. I mean, it's strange that it happened in 3 years, but, you know, there's that whole puberty thing.
Oh, God.
Gavin, what are you doing?
Well, that's all right. I have all this.
Okay. Can you close the door? Thank you. Okay, cool.
Yep.
Nicholas spoke very little, and when he did, his voice was very soft with a distinct French accent.
Okay, that is pretty weird. Yeah.
He explained that he had been forced to speak only French in front of his captors, or he was beaten.
I guess you learn it quick that way. Maybe that's what I need.
I mean, they do say immersive, like you want to learn Spanish, go to Mexico.
Yes.
Live
just
there.
Live in it. Yeah.
But,
well,
I don't know. I feel like that's also a terrifying prospect.
Right. Well, and this is doubly terrifying.
I hope I learned how to say, like, help, like, real quick.
Yeah. Shit.
Yeah. He also explained that he had been forced to receive chemical eye drop treatments, which changed the color of his eyes to help conceal his identity.
Okay.
So maybe this was like, what did you say it was? That Latisse?
Yeah.
Maybe it was like when it was in the experimental days. That's what they...
They're like, let's see what this does.
Right? Exactly.
Uh-huh.
So Carrie, however, was certain that the 16-year-old in front of her was her lost brother. She told him how she recognized his nose and the gap between his front teeth. So
maybe she was just really hoping really hard. Oh.
Carrie had brought a number of pictures with her, and she went through the stack of pictures that she had, and she's pointing out family members going, remember this? This is the house we lived in. And remember this? This is Uncle so-and-so.
Oh, no.
At one point, Nicholas asked her, is Grandpa still an asshole? Which is kind of a weird I felt like that's kind of a weird thing to say.
Yeah. Unless
knew. Right. That's a weird thing for someone to say about their grandpa unless like...
Yeah. Like, I'm really excited to see you and everything, but is Grandpa still an asshole?
Right. I thought that was like... That's a really weird way to go with that. Okay, cool.
No, Grandpa died when you were 2. You don't remember that?
Yeah, that would also be really... Yeah, okay. So before they were allowed to leave Spain, the local authorities asked Nicholas to identify 5 family members from photos that he'd never seen before.
Oh, shit. And she just showed him a bunch.
She just showed him a bunch, but they were different photos, but still, she just showed him a bunch. He was able to name all but 1. So 4 out of 5, which, what is that, like a B? What is that?
Pretty good. Pretty good. Yeah, probably a B.
When Carrie and Nicholas arrived back in the U.S., they are greeted at the airport in San Antonio by their mother and other relatives. And his family is all elated to have him.
Of course, yeah.
His mom is like so excited. Nicholas stayed very guarded, but his family was very understanding. When they got home, they were hugging him and stuff, but he was still doing like the hat and he was still bundled and stuff. But I've also heard that people that are like, have sexual trauma and stuff, like they cover up. Like they're like, I don't want to be
want their body
seen.
be seen or noticed. Yeah.
So they're like, all right, cool. The only thing that was weird was when he finally saw his brother Jason.
Okay.
Jason barely looked at him and just kind of glanced over and said, "Good luck," and then left.
Whoa. Okay, something suspicious about Jason.
Yeah, right? That's really weird.
Mm-hmm.
U.S. authorities and a few members of their extended family were really kind of suspicious, though, of Nicholas. They're like, this is still really weird. There were a lot of unanswered questions, like, how did he end up in Spain without a passport?
That's what I was wondering, too. Like,
right?
I guess at that time it was a lot more relaxed, but not
true
to the point where you...
Right. His hair had been bleached, but, you know, his roots were starting to come in very dark, which I can totally relate to.
Yeah.
Although I will say my hair is like a medium brown, but when my hair is bleached and my roots come in, they look black. They could have been
it
like
stands out more.
Right. If his hair had gotten darker and was just like a dark blonde, medium brown, still as it grows out, it would be like, damn, you know.
Yeah.
What'd you do to your hair? But it's growing in really dark.
Yeah.
People were questioning, is that a thing? Can you change someone's eye color with chemicals? Of course, again, this Latisse thing wasn't out. Please don't sue us, by the way.
No.
Some people might want brown eyes.
Yeah.
So
maybe,
it's totally okay.
You're
Just
ready
saying.
to have it changed.
It was also, some people questioned whether a child who was so angry and rowdy and uncontrollable could become calm, collected, and kind.
Well, if they're tortured.
After a lot of trauma,
Yeah.
Changes people, right? So, but his immediate family, his sister, his mother, they immediately accepted him fully. They're like, nope, this is him. Nicholas did have the same 3 tattoos he had when he disappeared.
Okay.
So that's like...
But you can get tattoos put on.
You can get tattoos, right? And if you have shitty tattoos, you can get shitty tattoos.
Very easily, especially if it's in newspapers. And
How did your tattoos get, like, improved? They look better.
Do you have those redone?
So the FBI, however, thought it was really weird that the Barclay family hadn't called them. Like, they hadn't called and been like, Nicholas escaped, he's home, like, we got to figure out who took him.
Yeah, that's weird. I would have thought it was in the news and everything.
He's a missing person. They're just like, sweet, he's home. Like, that was like...
Are they not very up on, like... They're not street smart?
Yeah, right.
Or,
that was kind of weird, right?
Yeah.
The FBI wanted to interview Nicholas right away because they wanted to get as much information from him as possible while it was fresh in his mind so that they could, like, try to find out who took him. And
try to take down the
whole ring, right?
Mm-hmm.
After the FBI reached out to the family.
Because the family didn't do it.
Because the family was like, oh yeah, I forgot to call you.
Oh,
sorry.
yeah. We were so excited.
You know, it was you, asshole grandpa. You know,
I was going to say, did asshole grandpa at least get the heads up right away?
Did he get a call?
Somebody needed to know. Oh, my God. Jason's like, I don't give a fuck. I told you to walk home.
So after the FBI reached out to the family, an interview was set up at San Antonio's Missing Children Center.
Okay.
FBI agent Nancy Fisher interviewed Nicholas and was immediately suspicious. She didn't think that the young man in front of her was 16.
Ooh, she thought he was older?
Yeah, she noted that he had the shadow of a beard coming in.
Well,
and that, but some kids, puberty comes in earlier.
My son's good friend has a full-on giant beard. Like, he looks, he looks 19, 20. He looks probably 25. Full-on beard.
Okay.
So it can happen.
Okay. See?
They're 17.
There you go.
Uh-huh.
The shadow of the beard, it wasn't light hair, it was dark hair. But again, that doesn't always have to match. Like,
true.
My cousin has always had brown hair. His beard grows in reddish. And I've seen other people like that. You know, Is it the norm? No, but it doesn't mean that it's...
Doesn't mean it's weird. Yeah. Totally weird. But.
So, you know, she's like, okay, so he's got really dark hair. He's got brown eyes. And he was really, really uncomfortable throughout the interview.
Mm-hmm.
But again, anyone recounting serious trauma would probably be really uncomfortable.
Totally, of course.
Right? It's really...
Especially a boy. Like, it's always seen as kind of harder for boys after rape.
Yeah. Yeah.
Not that it is, but...
Nicholas did give detailed information about how he was abducted, and the abuses that he suffered. He described how he was locked in a room with other young boys and that every night they were raped or molested.
Yikes.
By American, Mexican, and European men.
Jesus.
Yes. He had suffered from broken bones. His right hand had been broken by a baseball bat, and it was obvious that his hand had been broken and it didn't heal properly. So, he said, my hand was broken, and you could see, yep, that hand has been broken, right? He also said he had been burned, and there were cigarette burn marks on the back of his neck.
Oh, my God.
Right? He walked with a limp.
Oh, already?
Yeah. I mean, this poor kid. Oh, my God. He said that they were experimented on. The Latisse.
The Latisse.
Please don't sue us. Please,
they're like, see, we're doing our human trials, but they're very humane.
Oh, my God.
Only in sex trafficking rings.
Oh, Jesus. Okay. He said that many of the men who tortured them were military. They were subjected to military scare tactics.
Yikes.
If they spoke English, they were beaten. He and the other boys were moved to different locations, but they never saw where they were going. And so he couldn't give any specifics of people. He didn't have names. He didn't have specific places. He had like details of trauma and what happened, but he couldn't give, names, places, addresses.
Not even of some of the other boys?
Guess not.
Okay.
So, and he said that each boy was given a new identity, so a new name to be called, and that they had each had their appearances changed in different ways, coloring their eyes, coloring their hair,
Okay.
Nicholas said that the day he escaped, the door to the room they had been kept in had been unintentionally left open. And so he saw his chance and he took it and he ran. He said he went through several doors until he got outside, and then he just ran as long and as far as he could and didn't stop. After what seemed like several hours, he realized that where he was in Spain because he didn't even know where he was.
Yeah. Like,
right? He was like, right, this looks different.
I see a sign to someplace.
Right, yes. This is not English. He found a train station, and near the train station, he found some American tourists and asked them for help. And the tourists called the authorities from a payphone and said, this kid here, he's got no identification.
Random child.
Yeah, this American kid, just like he needs help.
With a French accent.
With a French accent, right? The family, the Barclay family, so the mother's name was Dollar Hyde. The sister's name, she's married. I don't know what Jason's last name was. So I just keep saying the Barclay family because I don't know what else to call them.
Right.
Nicholas's family, right?
Yeah.
They thought it was best to get Nicholas back into the normal routine of a teenager. This would be the best way to help him after all this. So he was enrolled in high school. He started to settle back into life in San Antonio. He was making friends his age. He had a crush on a girl that they kind of talked things were kind of going back to normal.
Yeah.
His parents, or not his family didn't push him to say, tell us about what you've been through or anything. They were like, you know what, we're going to put that behind us. If he wants to talk to us about it, he'll talk when he's ready. They just took him in and were like, we're going to get you back into regular life.
Well, hello, I'm Dom, and I'm the host of Horror House, True Crime and the Macabre. Horror House, True Crime and the Macabre is a delectable delight of true crime and the macabre, sprinkled with just the right amount of that dry British humour. Horror House can be found anywhere that you listen to podcasts and is on Instagram and Twitter at horrorhouse_pod and on Facebook at horrorhousepod. Episodes are released weekly on a Friday or as weekly as studying full-time and working part-time allows. So why don't you make a brew and come join me as I weave tales of horror and discomfort. Until next time, stay spooky.
A television producer from the show Hard Copy. Remember Hard Copy?
Girls, Hard Copy.
Yes. So a producer heard about this incredible story of the boy who'd been kidnapped and sold into a European sex trafficking ring, but escaped, right?
Can't believe that's not all over the news, but okay.
And so they hired private investigator Charlie Parker to find this kid so they could interview him on the show. So I think I talk about it later, but basically, the FBI was like, we don't want you talking to news people and stuff. Like, they didn't want him talking to people because
they want to try to catch the people.
They want to investigate, right? Charlie Parker had to first track down Beverly Dollarhide because she had moved from the house where they had lived before Nicholas had disappeared. Understandable. I'm sure her world was rocked when he disappeared and, you know, whatever. So still in the San Antonio area, but they had moved from that house.
They had moved.
So he had to track her down first. When Charlie Parker finally met Nicholas, he was immediately struck by how different he looked from his childhood pictures. He was like, this is weird, right?
Yeah.
He had read about a case where Scotland Yard had identified a man by his ears.
Like an ear print. I've heard of ear prints.
Right? Because, like, your ears, people's ears are different.
Really
I mean, you'd have to, like, really go to a plastic surgeon and have them, like, complete. I don't even know that you could completely
change
probably
the ear.
adjust them. I don't know. You can, like, change it. Right.
Yeah.
So I thought you'd enjoy this part. So he went home and used Adobe Photoshop to take a current picture and a 13-year-old picture of Nicholas, and he put them side by side in Photoshop, and he zoomed in.
Oh my
gosh. The ears were completely different. Like the way they, like where the inside was, the folds, like the whole, the shape.
Like people have the lobes that are attached or the lobes that aren't. Right. And all that kind of stuff.
Exactly. And you have different, like,
that's insane.
Crevices or whatever. Like it didn't.
Ridges, whatever it's.
Nope. Didn't line up at all. He was like, oh, okay. Charlie Parker immediately was like, this guy's a spy. Like, he went all like, he
goes all the way. A spy because that household, you know.
This is a spy. This is totally a spy. It was the only logical explanation, of course. So it was the only thing he could come up with. So he was like worried that like this guy was going to go like place a bomb somewhere or something. Like,
he's totally spying for China or Russia or something. Yeah.
Exactly. That's where his mind went.
That's funny.
So Charlie immediately called the FBI and spoke to Agent Nancy Fisher because she was the one on the case.
Okay.
They were in the middle of their federal investigation, and they were like not happy to know that this PI was investigating.
Uncovered it.
Right? They're like, you are going to fuck up our shit.
Oh no.
So they, so rather than doing anything about it, they went to Nicholas and the family and said, stop doing interviews. Don't talk to anybody. But
they're probably like, I could make some money.
But they're like, please, we don't want to tip off your abductors. We're like trying to find them.
But if there are no abductors.
Right. So Agent Fisher started to get concerned that maybe this person claiming to be Nicholas could be an imposter.
Yeah.
He's like, you know.
This might not be the right guy. Oh, no.
It led to bigger questions. Like, why wouldn't his family realize it wasn't him? If they knew it wasn't him, if that was the case, why would they let a stranger come home with them?
Well, you're desperate for your kid back.
Right. So she's like, no, he's got to be who he says he is. Like, why would someone lie about that? Why would a family take in a stranger? Like, she was just like, it's got to be, right?
I have some theories.
Do you? Okay.
I'm keeping myself.
The FBI told Nicholas's family that they needed him to fly to Houston to see a psychiatrist who is like a forensic expert to try to help Nicholas process his trauma and then try to recall details that could possibly help them with the investigation. Okay. Like maybe if he really talked about it, he would be able to, he would say stuff that they would be like, oh, we can use that or, you know.
Yeah, absolutely. Like a hypnotist.
Right. So they were like, okay. So Nicholas met with Dr. Bruce D. Perry of the Texas Children's Hospital. Immediately, Dr. Perry noticed that Nicholas could not speak without his French accent, which he considered a huge red flag because in his opinion, a child who was raised in the U.S. by English-speaking parents would still be able to speak without a foreign accent, even if he had been forced not to speak English for several years. He was like, he still should be able to go back and speak English. It's his native language.
Yeah, your brain is formed on that language.
Right, exactly.
I don't know.
So he was like, that's really weird. Dr. Perry also noted that he didn't observe the physiological changes in Nicholas that he thought he should see when he spoke about what happened to him. He thought that someone recounting a traumatic experience would have changes in posture, pupil size, heart rate. None of that. He wasn't seeing that. So he's like, this is just...
Okay.
He expressed his concerns to the FBI, and he said, in his opinion, this is not Nicolas Barclay.
Did the FBI listen this time? No.
Yeah.
Yeah? Ooh, good.
Agent Fisher immediately calls Carrie Gibson from, like, they're still in Houston, right? So she immediately calls Carrie Gibson, the sister, and drops this bomb that the person they've welcomed back into their lives can't be Nicholas, based on the fact that this person can't be an American.
Yeah.
They have determined that he is not an American, so there's no way this is your brother.
Yeah.
She warned Carrie that this could be a very dangerous person.
Yeah.
Obviously, he's very good at faking things,
yeah,
right?
he's willing to make up an entire story.
Yeah. And Carrie is shocked and upset. She was like, she's like floored. So Agent Fisher said, okay, don't meet us at the airport. I know that was the plan, that you were going to meet us at the airport and take him home. Don't meet him at the airport. We'll handle this. We will take care of it.
Oh, God.
We're not going to make you take fake Nicholas home. Don't worry about it. Okay. When the plane arrives in San Antonio, Carrie Gibson is there waiting.
Okay.
She greets Nicholas like the phone conversation never happened. She hugs her brother, is like, how'd it go? You good? Okay. And she takes him home. Weird.
Is she involved in this process?
Right?
Yeah, yes.
So Agent Fisher is now like shocked and confused. She's like, I didn't imagine that phone call, right? Like, what
happened?
What the fuck just happened? Like, she's, so she immediately calls the U.S. State's attorney and is like, the fuck do I do now? Like, what do I do with this?
This family's pretending something.
Yeah, something's seriously wrong here. And she was directed to allow the man to return to the family for now.
Okay.
Like, okay, let's
see how this plays out.
Right? Yeah. I'm like, all right. In the meantime, private investigator Charlie Parker just could not let the idea of this spy in the country, just could not let that go. He's like,
we can't have it spy.
I'm not letting this go down. I'm not having it.
He's deep throating.
Right? So he begins interviewing people who knew the Barclay family and gathering information on Nicolas Barclay. Like, he's not looking at this person. He's going back and researching the initial case.
Okay.
Right?
I like it.
He finds out that the police would be called to the Barclay home 2 or 3 times a month. Like, they were well known to constantly have
issues,
shit happening at their house, right?
And it wasn't just Nicholas.
No.
It was like other shit too.
They said sometimes it was Nicholas, sometimes it was for his older brother Jason, who was a drug addict.
Oh, gotcha.
Or Beverly Dollarhide's boyfriend or boyfriends or whoever was going on. I couldn't corroborate the evidence, but there was at least one story that talked about the fact that Jason was a drug addict. He got his mom into drugs. So there were drugs in the home. There was violence. There was dysfunction. It was a hot
wonder
mess.
Nicholas was, on that
right?
road.
Okay. So yeah. He wasn't just like, he wasn't born a holy terror.
Yeah.
This was a hot mess. We know that. Okay.
Yeah. That's what we were finding out. Hot mess life.
Hot mess.
Barclays.
Oh, man. Okay. The FBI decides to ask Nicholas and Beverly for DNA samples.
Yes, thank you very much. Let's do this. Mm-hmm.
However, Beverly flat out threw a fit. Like, the FBI agent said she literally laid down on the floor.
Oh my God, like a toddler.
Like a toddler, and said she didn't need a DNA sample to tell her that Nicholas was her son.
Okay,
which
psycho.
Also, the FBI agent is like,
yeah.
What is this? Like, who am I dealing with?
Drama.
Yeah. Is there anything about this case that's normal?
Okay, these are all weird, such big red flags.
This is all weird, weird shit. So they're like, okay. So the family's like, nope, not doing it. At this point now, the FBI is like, all right, what's the family hiding?
Yeah, absolutely. These people are all acting weird.
This is all really strange. So the FBI did obtain a search warrant to get the DNA samples, as well as Nicholas's fingerprints, which were submitted to Interpol. Nice. It didn't say. I don't know if they were able to get a search warrant to get his family's DNA, but they were like his DNA and his fingerprints and palm prints and all that.
Good.
And they submitted that to Interpol. On March 3rd, 1998, it was confirmed that the person claiming to be Nicolas Barclay was 23-year-old Frederick Bourdain.
Wow. Anthony's child?
Yes. It took me a minute. I was like, who's Anthony?
Anthony Bourdain? Wow.
Well,
Frederick.
It's spelled Bourdain. I've seen it, I've heard it pronounced Bourdain. Different people in the documentary said it different ways, but whatever.
French. Wow.
Right. So Frederick Pierre Bourdain was born June 13th, 1974.
Oh.
In France. He's French.
Mm-hmm. Makes sense.
He was raised by his grandparents. His mother claimed
And
that
his grandpa was an asshole.
And they had that in common.
Yes.
And they immediately bonded. And that's how this all
And that's
started.
how this all happened.
Right?
Okay. Got it.
Yeah, exactly. So his mother claimed that his father was a married man from Algeria, and he never met him. So, but he didn't really have any proof. And obviously he didn't stay with his mom. He was with his grandparents. Sometime in his adolescence, he ran away to Paris. There's I couldn't get any specifics. It is believed that he has assumed at least 500 false identities.
Wow. How do you have time for all that?
Right. At 23.
Wow. Shit.
At least 3 of them were real missing teenagers.
Oh.
So it wasn't just that he stole people's identities. Sometimes he made up identities, but some of them were like missing people, missing kids.
God.
And
mess with all these people's lives.
he was short. He was small boned. Like he looked, although if you look at pictures of him, I don't think he looked that young, but he passed himself off as a teen for like well past after he was a teen.
Wow.
So by this time, Frederick had grown tired of pretending to be Nicolas Barclay because 500 different identities. Like apparently he's pretty quick turnaround on those. Yeah. So he's like, I've done this for far too long. Gig's up. I'm bored or whatever,
I'm ready to take on another identity.
I'm done with this guy. He admitted to the FBI, that's me. They're like, we got your fingerprints and stuff. He's like, yep, you're right. Like he didn't try to deny it or anything. Wow. Or, he was like, nope, I'm done. Okay. So he tells FBI that back in October, he was the one who called Spanish authorities saying he was an American tourist and that he had found an American teenager. Right?
Of course he was.
He was the one that called in on himself.
Okay.
With no identification. Then he just waited to be picked up and he was hoping to be taken to a youth shelter. He was probably between heists or gigs or whatever.
Identities.
He's like, I need somewhere to stay, right?
Need another identity.
So this is crazy. And he explains all this himself in person on this documentary called The Imposter, that it just is crazy to me. So he gets picked up by police, and of course they're trying to question him. Who are you? Where are you from? What's your name? And at first he's trying not to give them anything. Like he won't talk. He's just trying to act traumatized, right? Because he just wants to be put in a youth shelter.
Right. I just want to be somewhere.
So he refused to talk for as long as he could. And I still don't quite understand how this happened, but somehow he convinced them to let him hang out in the police department by himself for a while.
Oh, no. Where there's access to computers and information and...
I still don't quite understand. I understand this was a small town in Spain.
Right.
Like, I don't know if they had, like, Opie and whatever, like, running the show.
Probably.
But, like... Oh, you want to just hang out here for a while? Yeah, that's cool. Like, we're going to lunch. Like, go ahead.
Yeah, have fun. Here's the firearms key.
This blew my mind. He's there. So while he's alone, he calls the National Center for Missing and Exploited Children in the U.S.
Oh, my God.
Pretending to be Spanish police and asks them to fax over any missing teenage boys similar to his description.
Oh, my God.
So he was just like, you got any missing kids that are around 15, 16? What do you got?
Look, let us give you the entire list. See who you might look like.
So one of the names that he got was Nicolas Barclay from San Antonio, Texas. They're like, we'll fax over his missing persons sheet, our information on him. He's like, cool. So he tells the Spanish authorities, I'm Nicolas Barclay. I was kidnapped from the U.S. and sold into a child trafficking ring.
God.
But when the missing person flyer was faxed over, Frederick realized that his hair color and eye color didn't match.
Yeah. Whoops.
Yeah, like, ooh, shit.
Big whoops.
He also learned of the 3 tattoos because that was an identifying thing, so it was on the poster, right?
Oh, shit.
So he immediately bleaches his hair.
Okay.
And then has another teenager at the youth center give him the tattoo on his hand. Because that's the most obvious one.
Yeah.
Like, I don't understand how the Spanish authorities were not like, wow, he went through this whole traumatic thing, and his first thing is that he wants to bleach his hair. Cool.
Yeah.
Is that a fresh tattoo? Like, what?
Yeah.
It was just like, because it would have to look red.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Like,
Oh,
it had to
yeah.
look- I just thought that was like,
That's
anyway.
really odd. Okay.
So kudos to them over there. They did an excellent job. So
Thanks for letting him access all of our stuff.
Wow. Seriously?
This kid could have had a career as something else, at least a magician.
Oh my God, right? I mean, he would have made an excellent used car salesman, I bet.
Oh, probably.
Lawyer.
Oh, that's it. Lawyer.
So when Frederick found out that Nicholas's sister would be flying to Spain to meet him, he was like, oh shit, right? So he kind of panicked. He did the best he could to conceal his face as much as he could. He had the sunglasses, the hat, the scarf. He was just like,
Yeah, trying.
And he stalled as long as he could, knowing that she was there waiting to see him. And then he finally was like, all right, well, I guess I gotta just go out there. So he goes outside to meet her, and she just immediately was like,
She ate it up.
yay, it's my brother. She accepted him without question. And he was like, okay. I'm just, all right, I'm okay. This is not what I expected. I'm just going to roll with it.
Oh my God.
He said that she had all these pictures, and he said it was weird. He got the impression she was feeding him information because she wasn't asking, do you remember this? She would be like, this is so-and-so. Remember? This is our house. Remember? This is the living room. Remember?
Whoa. Yeah.
Right? And she's naming the people and stuff. So when the police showed him the family member pictures, he was like, yeah, it's pretty easy. Like, I missed one, but...
God, I figured somehow they were in cahoots before this.
Not that
Weird. God, just because...
Right? How okay.
It's just like, what an opportunity.
Right. So when she is like feeding him the information and stuff, and he's like, oh my God, they're going to accept me. He's like, sweet, I'm going to get out of Europe. Like, he's a wanted man, like Interpol is all over him. So I'm like, I'm going to get out I'm going to go to America. I'm going to start over. I can con a bunch of people over there.
Totally. It's a whole new gang.
But what he should have done was work on his American accent, because that's where he blew it, right?
Yeah.
When he arrived in San Antonio, everyone immediately accepted him.
That is really weird.
Except for Jason.
Oh, so that's why he
wouldn't really look at him, right? And just said, good luck. And then just, wasn't involved. He just went back to his own life and...
Huh. Okay.
So Frederick believed at any moment the Barclays are going to realize this isn't Nicholas, Yeah. But as the days and weeks went on, he was like becoming more comfortable.
Okay. Yeah.
With being Nicholas.
A new fam.
Right. He kind of got excited at the idea of going to an American school. Like maybe he could graduate high school and start a new life. And, hey, this is a strange but exciting opportunity for me, right?
I actually have a future now.
Right.
Wow.
Then the excitement kind of wore off, because he was kind of fickle with his identities, like I am with my hair. And every time his identity was questioned, he noticed that like Beverly and Carrie were like vehemently denied that there was any possibility this wasn't Nicholas. And he's like, God, they are like
why are they so into this?
Yes. He starts thinking, well, the only explanation for why they would blindly accept him was if they knew the real Nicholas wasn't coming back.
Yep. That's what I was thinking.
Right? Because otherwise, what if this kid actually showed up then, right?
Uh-huh. We have something to hide.
Frederick tells the FBI that Beverly confessed to him that she and Jason killed Nicholas and hid his body, and that Carrie was helping them cover it up.
Wow. See, I figured it was Jason for sure, but...
Right?
Man, Mom.
So, Frederick Bourdain or whatever, Frederick was arrested after living with the family for almost 6 months.
Whew. Wow.
6 months he was doing this, right? So he gets arrested. The FBI talked to Beverly and Carrie, and they're like shocked and horrified to find out that they've been duped by this 23-year-old career con man, right? But they deny having anything to do with Nicholas's disappearance. They're like, this, you know, and they're like, why would you, this guy's like a habitual liar. Why would you even believe what he's saying? Like, he has conned us. We lost our brother and son, and now this guy's blaming us. This is horrible. This is, you know.
And they moved out of the house they had.
And they moved out of the house, right? So they blamed their being so naive based on the fact that they were just so desperate to have Nicholas back.
Right.
And that they were totally duped.
That could be believable for a little while, but then...
Right?
Yeah.
That was the thing. So he did end up having all the tattoos, but like without pictures. And did they just not remember exactly what the tattoos look like?
Yeah.
It's just, right? It's just really weird. Beverly agreed to take a lie detector test.
Oh, wow.
Right?
Okay, Bev.
And she passed.
Wow. Well.
But according to the documentary, the FBI agent, Nancy Fisher, was like, well, that doesn't make any sense. Give it to her again.
Oh.
So they did. And she passed again. And again, she was like, that doesn't make any sense. Do it again. And this time she failed horribly. And I'm like, well, does it even count now?
How many times can you, before it's like, okay, now I'm getting really nervous and I messed up my answers. And,
exactly. Like, what's going on? So, like, which I just thought that was crazy. I mean, I know it's not admissible in court anyway, but, like, how are they allowed to just keep giving her tests until they got the results they wanted?
Yeah.
Like, that part was really like,
this is wrong. We've got to do it again.
So many things about this story that are just kind of messed up. So, according to Beverly, she lied on the test about stealing, and that's why she failed.
That's odd. Okay.
Right? And after
they
that...
ask different questions each time?
Right. After that, she was like, I'm not cooperating with police anymore. Like, she shut it down. She's like, no, I'm not doing it. Next, the FBI questioned Jason.
Oh.
Right?
Yeah, that's the one I want to hear from.
Who was, I guess, in drug rehab at the time.
Oh, shit.
He would not help at all. He would not cooperate. He would not answer questions. He was combative.
Also street smart.
Right? The only thing he said was that he knew all along that it wasn't Nicholas, but he wasn't going to tell his family that.
Okay. Because you were the guy who...
Because you were there, because you know, like, you know.
You did something to...
Or he's just like, oh, they're desperate. I'm not going to burst their bubble. I don't know, but he was very, like, he didn't really care that obviously his brother was still missing. Right. He didn't care that a stranger had been living with them for 6 months. He didn't care that the stranger...
Like, this could be dangerous. Maybe the stranger could hurt them.
Didn't care.
Whatever.
He was just like, you know...
Y'all suck. Bye.
Right. So it was just really weird. FBI's like, okay, so they're totally suspicious of him.
Yeah.
But, like, shortly after the interview, he overdoses and dies.
Oh, fuck. No. God damn it.
Right.
Right? Oh, he was the one I was banking on to crack.
Exactly.
God damn it.
Oh, God. Okay, so in September of 1998, Frederick Bourdin, he pled guilty to passport fraud and perjury. That's what they got him on.
Okay. Big whoop.
Yeah, right. He was sentenced to 6 years in jail, and he did all 6 years. Wow. I also read
in
that
America?
That was in America.
Oh,
that was twice the recommended sentence.
That's odd. Well, he's probably like, please don't let me go. I've got free food, free TV, free everything I want.
He was doing interviews from jail, and I even saw there's a clip in the documentary where Connie Chung is interviewing him, and from the prison, he was calling up different police departments around the country and saying that he had information on other missing kids, and it was all bullshit.
He's loving the spotlight.
Right.
This is perfect life for me. Thanks for accepting me.
Connie Chung right there on the camera is like, but you didn't have any information, right? And he's like, no. And she goes, why would you do this? And he's like, I don't know.
Whew, he's got issues. Okay.
But then that's what the Barclays said. They're like, he's a habitual liar. Like, you can't believe that he said that mom confessed to him or anything like that.
I mean, that's true.
Right? You can't believe it. So anyways, he ends up being deported to France in 2003 when his sentence is up. They're like, America's like, we don't need this shit.
We gave
had
you
our
free
own
stuff
problems.
this whole time. All right, have fun. French jails. Oui, oui.
Once he got back to France, he continued to assume identities of other people. 3 of them were teenage boys, one of whom was a real-life 14-year-old who was missing.
They didn't arrest him, right? I mean, he was wanted. They didn't arrest him as soon as he landed.
I don't know. I don't know. But
oh my God.
The next kid that he pretended to be, who was a real-life missing person, they used DNA, and they were like, you're not him. Like, I don't know how he keeps doing this. Like, I don't understand why he's not in jail. Like, I don't...
God, or an actor, or finding his way, doing something new.
In August of 2007, he married a French woman named Isabel, and they had 5 kids.
Oh, shit. Great.
So that brings us to 2007. In January of 2012 is when the documentary The Imposter premiered at the Sundance Film Festival. And it is the story of Frederick pretending to be Nicolas Barclay. And it's told using interviews of everybody involved. So you hear from Frederick, you hear from Beverly, Carrie, Charlie Parker, the FBI agent, the doctor, everybody but Jason, because this came out after Jason died.
Yeah, because he died.
Right? But like, it's from their own mouths.
So what'd they do with Nicholas?
Nicolas Barclay is still considered a missing person.
God damn it.
The police had to drop the murder investigation after Jason's death because of lack of evidence. They didn't have... So they had started a murder investigation, and then they closed that, and they just went back to missing person because they had nothing.
Been killed by his family, obviously. And I thought that right away with Jason. With his reaction.
The fact that he, 3 months later, said that he was back and tried to break it, like that making it look like he's still around.
Super suspicious. Yeah.
Right? Like, that was really weird. Remember the private investigator, Charlie Parker?
Yes. Charlie, get back here.
He's still convinced that Nicholas was killed in or around that house. He was like, something happened to this kid in this house, and the family covered it up. So he went and spoke to the homeowner, the current owner of the house that they lived in when Nicholas disappeared, right?
Yes.
And this is all on the documentary. He went and he talked to him, and he was like, oh, wow, okay. So the homeowner is like, yeah, he's like, when we moved in, our dog used to constantly try to dig in this back corner of the yard. Right?
Oh, God.
And then he says when he was mowing once, he found like this tarp-like material, and he tried to kind of dig it up, but it was kind of like disintegrating and stuff. So it was like breaking apart. And then he just kind of was like, all right, well, whatever. I can't get any more up. And he didn't think anything of it. So together, Charlie and the new homeowner like dug up the corner of the yard, and they didn't find anything.
No.
And that is where the information stops. So he could have been there.
Could have been.
Temporarily, and then they moved him or so.
Yeah, something.
But I don't think he's alive anymore. I mean, and it could be that he overdosed. Like, what if they got him into drugs too?
Yeah.
Or whatever, or
he really did run away and doesn't want to be found or something, but oh my God. That's messed up.
Is that not?
And the family's like, sweet, this other guy's pretending to be our son. We can totally take advantage of this situation.
Exactly. Who would have thought this is the perfect situation?
Shouldn't they be held accountable for that too? Like,
Isn't that bizarre? So they still claim he's missing. They still claim that he was taken or.
How sad. Ugh.
How is that for a messed up story?
Yeah. And that he found that Bourdon guy found somebody who actually wanted to marry him.
Oh, yeah, totally. Although I believe she left him at some point. I don't know. I got tired of him. I got bored of him.
So did she. She was like, I'm tired of you pretending to be the dude down the block.
Totally. So would you like to hear my sources?
Yes,
crazy
of course.
Sources. Okay,
I
so
need
of
to
course,
see this show.
This documentary called The Imposter by director Bart Layton. Really good, really messed up, especially because
have to watch this.
Like, you hear from all of them, well, except for Jason, you hear from all of them themselves. It is messed up.
Wow.
Ranker.com, History101.com, Observe.com. lostandfoundblogs.com, and of course, Wikipedia.com.
Yeah, always. Wow, that is a messed up story.
Isn't that crazy? So that's why I said, like 10 minutes in, I'm like, oh, this is my next story. This is what I'm doing. We still don't know what happened to Nicolas Barclay.
Damn it. Somebody give us info. We need to find this out.
Yeah. Right.
On the streets?
Does anybody know? Have you seen him? Has anyone seen a now 40-some-year-old?
Yeah.
Is a 41-year-old wearing purple pants and a pink backpack with a bowl haircut?
Chances are he loved that style. Did not want to give up.
That's the other thing. If you see the pictures of Frederick acting as Nicholas, you're like, I guess it's possible.
Yeah.
But like they did, like the Center for Missing and Exploited Children did one of those age progression things, and he was far better looking in his age progression than this guy was. This guy was...
Yeah,
he just was sleazy.
Oh, yeah.
The sister said she recognized, like, the space between his teeth, but he didn't have just, like, a space between his front teeth. All
he was missing his teeth.
Spaces. No, it was like everything was space. It was really gross. I was like, dude, why is there space between every single one of your teeth?
Yeah, you obviously had no dental work as a child.
No, it was bizarre. And obviously he went through some shit, or he...
Hey, Oddies, thanks for listening to another episode of ODFM. If you're a longtime listener, hey, we cannot thank you enough for your continued support. And if you're a new listener, thanks for giving us a try. If you like us, please drop us a like, subscribe, or rate us so we can share our stories with more people around the world. And if you'd like more information, like links to our podcast and socials, along with our Patreon fan page, those links are all on Linktree under ODFM Podcast. That's linktr.ee/ODFM Podcast. Side note, you guys, we're obsessed with fan art, and we love making things with it, like stickers for our fans. So if you'd like us to use your designs, send it to us at odfmpodcast@gmail.com. And if we use your design, we'll be sure to send you a sticker.
Thanks for listening to another episode of ODFM, hosted by Kelly DeVries and Jenna Swanson. Production and editing by Kelly DeVries. Theme music by Eric Swanson. ODFM is a satirical true crime podcast for entertainment purposes only. The stories you hear are serious and true. The comments and opinions are not. We apologize if any of our content is harmful or disrespectful.